Fine. It is now 6:30, and I would like to call our meeting to order. Are there any additions or deletions this evening? No additions or deletions. We have the Selectboard Minutes of 9/16/24 and pay orders of October 8th to look at, so let's look at the minutes first.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay.
I'll second.
This evening it will need to be Rob, Carolyn, and Mark who approved the minutes. Justin and I were not at the September 16th meeting. So are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed. And now we're on to the pay orders as of October 8th, 2024. Are there any additions to this? So our final figure is $64,019.17. Do we have any discussion? Oh, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
And now do we have any discussion?
Oops. Name dropper.
That was quick.
Sorry.
Do we have, so no questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Moving on. Our road commissioner is going to be a little late this evening. We're going to move down to honorable mentions. The Wallingford Conservation Commission is on their 20th year as a commission. The town thus far has received 30 donations to the Boy with the Boot Fund for a total of $2,890. There are quite a few names on the list. I think I might wait a little bit until the list becomes more final.
That's a good idea.
And then go ahead and read all the names. But thank you to all the people, and it's quite a lengthy list, who have donated within Wallingford and outside Wallingford as well. So thank you to them. Thank you notes have been sent for those who have donated to the Boy with the Boot. Do we have anyone here for public comments? We do not, so we shall move on. We have for the town hall surveillance camera, we have an electrical estimate, and the estimate is enclosed.
And this estimate expired on October 1st,
Oh, okay.
but this was gonna be funded with a grant I got for $5,000 from the Center for Technology and Civic Life.
Okay.
And I spoke to them today, and they encouraged us to use every penny. They don't want any back, so
Okay.
we'll do our best. We're gonna get a laptop.
Oh, nice.
Justin can help us with that.
Yes.
And anything else that helps with elections. We're looking at what other clerks are buying, just to
great.
see. But we have the cameras already, and Jeff
Okay.
put the two out back. So
Okay,
he knows how to do it through the
great.
screen we have in their office. So we wanted to put it up there. Where we have one now, that's just a solar, and it doesn't work. It did work, but it doesn't work.
Okay, it
so
doesn't work now.
Not enough light. Probably, or
I don't know. You
Okay,
have to get on a ladder and get it taken down, and it's just,
yeah.
okay.
it's tough. So this was the only estimate I was able to get. I asked someone else, they came in, and she thought it was just too much for her.
Okay.
And it's just too hard to get an electrician in here.
So, we do have this one estimate here. Do we want to approve?
Yeah, motion we approve if you need it.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions on the estimate? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Julie, are these the cameras can you access these cameras from remote, or are they just just seen in your office type?
Just seen it in our office that I know of.
Okay.
Would be nice if it could be some, that home as needed.
Well, reason I'm asking is, if we have some extra money in there, why not change the unit in here to put it,
To have some kind of web-based service or,
yeah, I mean, we got internet, so
right,
why not
yeah.
just see if that's doable? Then no matter whether you're here on Fridays or
Right?
even weekends or nights, if someone tries to get in the doors, at least you can see, the alarm goes off, you can see who came in.
So do
We don't have an alarm.
We don't have an alarm.
But you can rewind this system.
Okay,
Yeah, but I don't, like I said, it's the technology is there.
Okay.
And if the funds are there, why not?
And if it's saving it onto a hard drive on our thing, then that's just saving to a cloud and probably we can have further back too, I
Yeah,
would imagine.
Is that something the electrician would help me with, or
Probably be something I can help
Company.
you with.
yeah.
you?
I'll look into see if it's,
Okay.
Do we
if
need
you
to
want to send
make,
me the specs of the ones that we got
Yeah.
the original quote for, just so I can compare.
Yeah, thank you.
because you might be able to just update the control unit.
so do we need to make an amendment to the motion that's on the floor?
And we'll just see what we come back with
Great.
on that for money.
So, okay, so shall I ask a question? All those in favor? Aye. Great, thank you. Moving on, we have the Rutland Regional Plan update. Hi, there's Steffanie.
Materials.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you so much for carving out a few minutes on your busy agenda for us to come down. I'm here tonight representing the Regional Planning Commission and making sure that folks in Wallingford are kind of kept in the loop as to the progress that we're making on updating the Rutland Regional Plan. So earlier this year, and actually late last year, I'm sure you folks saw at some point kind of messaging of us kicking off the update. And our staff have been very busy over the past several months pulling together the first full draft of all the topical chapters in the plan. And so we're ready to launch the second phase of our public engagement. So in terms of the materials that you have before you, basically just announcing that we are launching that second phase of engagement. And the goals for this phase are to kind of report back to the communities and that make up the Rutland region what we heard from folks in phase one when we asked for your kind of thoughts, concerns, hopes, and desires for the upcoming 8 years as far as the regional plan is concerned. And we'd like to, secondly, seek your thoughts on how that input helped to inform the current working draft policies in the plan. So this little presentation kind of gives you a recap of that phase one phase of engagement, the learn and assess phase and what we did, the upcoming phase two report back activities that we have planned for the months of September, October, and November. And then most importantly, opportunities for you to provide feedback on the draft policies. So in phase one, which we completed early this year between January and April, as I said, we reached out to everyone within the 27 towns of the Rutland region, and through a dynamic mix of engagement opportunities. We listened closely to thoughts, concerns, and hopes for the future. We conducted 27 town presentations like the one I'm doing tonight. We held 21 pop-up informational events throughout the region. 5 community open houses, also strategically kind of distributed throughout the region. And we had about 1,200 responses to an online survey. So we were very pleased with the level of engagement that we got in phase 1. And if folks are interested in looking at kind of the results of that input in more detail, I would direct you to the rutlandrpc.org/plan 2026 landing page, where you can access a presentation that summarizes all of that phase 1 engagement results. So for phase 2, we've September, October, November is our time frame. We're doing, again, a presentation in every one of our 27 towns. We're doing 5 pop-up events and 2 feedback sessions, as well as launching another survey to collect input on what we heard in phase 1 and the draft policies. So the feedback sessions, I said we're doing 2. We did one in late September, and we have a second one coming up on October 30 at 6 p.m. So there's opportunities to attend that session in person at the Regional Planning Commission office at 16 Evelyn Street in Rutland, or virtually. And the links you can find on that website, rutlandrpc.org/plan 2026. So in terms of our phase 2 goals, we are really at the midpoint in the plan development process, and we're really hoping to get as much engagement in phase 2 as we did in phase 1 to make sure that we're on the right track, okay? The policies are really going to steer the actions and the ways that the Regional Planning Commission works to achieve the larger goals for community economic development that are outlined in the regional plan. And now is the time to weigh in on those. So it's the kind of input that our staff needs as they're going to work through their next drafting later this year to make sure that we're on the right track. We didn't miss anything. There isn't anything that people find concerning, and hey, maybe we should be taking a second look at this and consider pivoting. If we wait for that kind of feedback later in the process, there's not going to be enough buffer to potentially make big pivots, right? Because as you know from working on town plans, the adoption process for this type of document is pretty onerous. And you got to really have your ducks in a row and things ready to go once you get close to the end of things. So we're looking to really engage folks now that we have a first cut at the draft policies out there and get some feedback. So that's really it for tonight. I would draw attention to your packet. The kind of last page midway through gives you that the Plan 2026 landing page website address, as well as a dedicated email address if folks have things that they want to just put in writing outside of a survey vehicle, that you can communicate with our office. And then most importantly, there's several pages at the back of this packet that are a summary slide for each of the chapters. Phase 1, what we heard from the community engagement main takeaways, as well as a full list of all of the draft policies for each chapter. So you have this available to reference at your convenience, and if something strikes your interest, you could then follow up and maybe take the survey and provide us some feedback, or attend the feedback session later this month.
Great.
Okay? Great.
Thank you.
So hopefully this kind of information can be passed on to Planning Commission,
Yes.
other local committees, commissions that might be really interested in community economic development.
Yes.
Okay.
That one, if that's the next one.
Absolutely.
I'll make copies. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks so
Stephanie,
much.
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Have a good rest of the night.
Thanks, Stephanie.
We're now at transfer station compost.
Oh,
Zach,
okay.
you're perfect timing.
Yeah, well, I came late because I said on the agenda at 7:15, so I was like, well, I'll pop in. I used to be on the select board, so I know like the
Right.
beginning of the meetings, there's a lot to do. And,
Well, our road commissioner is coming late, so that moves things.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why we're a little bit ahead of our agenda, but it's great that you're here. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
feel okay, we'd love to
yeah.
do this now.
So, I mean, the reason I reached out in the first place, and I don't even know if this is 100% true, but in the last 4 weeks, I've had a handful of people sign up in town here. And it was because they couldn't bring compostable products to the transfer station anymore.
Right.
And I mean, I heard all about it from a few of these people that are very upset about it. And so I was like, well, you know, I do a lot of, a handful of transfer stations, and, I have quite a few larger accounts, and I figured why not shoot my shot and send an email, and here I am. So to sum up like the email, and what I'm about, so my facility is located in Rochester, Vermont, over the hill. I'm in about 59 towns, or 60 towns. I have about 600, 650 accounts total, and a good chunk of them are commercial accounts. And that goes from like restaurants to, I got a couple of hospitals, the jail facility in Rutland, and then I have 4 transfer stations already. And I've been doing this since July 1st of 2020 when the law went into effect. And basically I provide 45-gallon bins. And I'm fairly certain the bins you use right now are 32-gallon. So they're a hair bigger, so you could probably get away with a few less of them. And so I just do a flat rate per bin. There's no surcharges for fuel if the fuel's gone up, or anything at all. There's also, we do emergency pickups, so if the bins are full too soon and for whatever reason you need it picked up sooner, we come within 24 hours guaranteed. Swap it out. And a couple other little details is we provide sawdust bins. So you get, depending on how many bins you have, you'll get, it's usually like 1 bin of sawdust for every 4 bins. And those get replenished every time I come, and that's from March to November. Because in the wintertime, you don't really need it. It's really just to help with the smell. Put it over the food, no maggots, no flies, it's not gross. And then another thing I do is we wash the bins every time. So when I come, I don't just dump the bins out, I swap them out. That way the bins don't get gross, and you get that food buildup on it that ends up being kind of smelly. But yeah, so like I said, it might be a long shot, it might not be, I don't know. I just wanted to reach out and see if you guys might be interested in working with me.
Okay. So, do we have any other questions people want to talk about?
Zach picks up our compost and now my parents, up School Street.
Abby?
Abby,
Yep, okay.
yes.
And so now, if this goes through, the pickup would be, so people could bring their compost right to the transfer station?
Right, correct.
Okay.
What they can't do now is they can't bring the little bags anymore, those delivering bags, they can't compost
Okay.
paper plates or the compostable utensils anymore.
Okay.
So like the green bags are very popular for
Right.
people to haul their food scraps down
Yes.
the transfer station. And from my understanding, those aren't accepted anymore. Then the cups, the utensils, anything that's certified compostable, we can take and process.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the main reason why people don't want to take it is it takes so long to break down. That stuff takes about 2 years, and what we do is we separate it, we put it in its own pile. Basically people want the soil as quick as they can to sell it and make room. And so what we ended up doing was just put all that stuff separately, and that way we're not watching the pile waiting for it to be done to sell the soil.
Right.
It's doing its thing, and in a couple of years, some of it will be done, and it'll just keep rotating.
All right. Great.
Remind me again what it is that Casella's not taking.
So Casella is no longer taking bones, paper, compostable bags, or utensils.
And you will?
Yeah, I also take bones, meat, grease, any of that stuff as well.
Okay.
Because they do something different with it. They bring it to a depackaging facility, and I think they I think it goes to a digester to make electricity. At least a certain portion of their stuff. I can't speak for their operation, but from my understanding, so that's probably why they don't want that stuff. Because the compostable products, they gum up the machines, from what I understand, and the same thing with the bones. And so we compost in the field. So we got piles that are about 100 foot long, 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and we just roll them over 6 months, add wood chips, and so the bones get screened out at the end. So that's why we're able to take them, because we're just left with a pile of bones at the end of it, and we bury it or do something with it. So that's probably why they don't accept those things anymore.
Do you have any other questions? I think if we want to do this, we'll need a motion.
I make a motion to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any other further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Oh, do you have something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. All those in favor of having Music Mountain Compost set up bins for the compostable material, say aye. Aye. And no one's opposed, so
That's great.
yes.
Thank you very much.
We'd love to set this up.
So
Yeah.
I'll get over here.
What perfect timing.
What?
I mean, all of a sudden, weren't able to do this, and you walk in
I know.
and
It was
have been doing it,
was
so.
a chance thing. Like I said, if those people hadn't called me and talked about it and signed up, I wouldn't have heard about it. So I'm glad I can help facilitate the disposal of those items for you guys.
Excellent.
But yeah, so.
So I'll be in touch with the transition.
Yeah, there's a transfer station person.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, yeah, because then have them reach out, we'll set up a schedule, I'll
Yep.
send my insurance information, all that stuff. And,
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for making the trip.
Have a great night.
You too.
okay. So moving on.
Moving on.
Town Hall heating and cooling. Hey, Tom?
Tom's here.
So Tom has a solar update.
Yeah, do you want to go to that first? We can do that first if you like. or-
Yes, why don't we start with that first?
So, yeah, we talked about it actually, this was last meeting, and I think you and Justin weren't here, so it was a little bit of a repeat, but just to catch you up.
Okay.
There's a couple different options. There's the municipally owned solar or solar lease. The municipal owned is more beneficial for the town. Now, the problem with the municipal owned is there's two versions of municipal owned. One would be something called remote or remote net metering or virtual net metering. And this allows you to have solar panels in different areas and support different buildings. Okay, so given our situation, we have 5 or 6 different facilities that are under the town that generate electricity that we would like to be able to cover all of them if possible. That would require this virtual or remote net metering to do that. The problem is that that is being phased out at the end of this calendar year. So if we, now the good news is that all we have to do this year is get a CPG or Certificate of Public Good submitted by the end of the calendar year. And then I believe that's good for a year, so we'd have time to do that. If we don't meet that deadline, then our only option for solar, if in terms of municipally owned, would be to put it on the garage and put enough on the garage just to cover the electricity from the garage. So the town hall is the biggest consumer of electricity. So it'd be nice to take advantage of this if we could. And we talked about it a little bit last meeting, and the questions that came up really surfaced around the integrity of the garage itself, as to whether the building could support it or not. And I did follow up with Jay on that. So Jay did an assessment of the town garage, and in his opinion, it was based on his assessment, he thought that it could accommodate the panels. So he's a licensed architect. But then he also told me that the bid that we had done back in February, that David facilitated, that company, Green Earth Energy, they also had an engineer on staff. So they just incorporated a assessment of the building as part of their bid. Yeah, so that was the numbers that I gave you last time. I think it worked out to, I forget what it was originally, and with the rebates, it came to like 55,000, I think. And that bid generated about 22,000 kilowatt hours, I guess, per year. And the town hall uses about 18,000. That's expected to go up when we get the heat pumps in. But it works out pretty nicely in terms of the capacity for the town garage and what we think we would need to cover in the town.
What capacity would you need for the heat pumps?
Well, we'll know after a year of running the heat pumps, but, you know, we know it's gonna be higher. but
Right.
We don't know exactly what it'll be yet.
Okay.
So basically, you harvest the solar coming in, and then we get a credit basically from GMP as we're getting it back into the grid? Or
So it'd be net
it's not
meters.
directly on, it's not, because it's not gonna run a cable all the way from town hall, the
Right.
garage down.
Right.
Exactly, yeah, it goes back into the grid. It's recorded as it goes back in. It's metered as it goes back in. They keep track of how much we're generating. They keep track of how much we're using, obviously. And then, you know, and basically what happens is in the summer months, you're generating more than you're using, and in the winter months, you're using more than you're generating. So you kind of build your balance in the summer and pull it down in the wintertime.
Okay.
So the proposal would be that we would the Energy Committee would put a draft RFP together for your review. We could get it to Sandy by the Wednesday before your next meeting, and that way you'd have a chance to look at it in advance.
Okay.
And then the goal, we would just work the timeline such that we have, you know, the site visit and everything, and have questions, and then have the bid back in time sometime next month, so that there'll be plenty of time for them to get the CPG submission in. So that would be the only, I mean, fortunately, that shouldn't be a real long time frame for them to do that, but,
Were there any other sites considered? You're thinking like just like at the parking lot at the park
yeah.
is theoretically like a ride share, like if there was,
Yeah.
you made a structure above it, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and there was actually some discussion. Mark had a suggestion last meeting.
Yeah,
if you
there's a
recall.
company that does, I was looking at them, they do solar barns. They got
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
They're just a three-sided
Yeah, and you were thinking.
carport, basically. is what they
Yeah.
are.
And you were thinking in terms of like the shed salt at the.
Ooh,
Yeah, we were
yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
replace it, when they replace the set, you know,
Put a couple-
incorporate that right into it.
Yeah.
The only problem is, again, the timing. So
Right.
in order to put this in place, in order for the CPG, you gotta have your site selected. So I think the proposal would be, the garage is there, we confirm, we have Jay's analysis, we confirm as part of the bid process that the bidders would also confirm that the building can support the panels that we would be using. And then get it installed next year. If we do another building next year, and it happens to be in place before we install them, I think as all part of the same facility, the town garage and the shed right next to it, we may be able to put them on that. I think that's a great suggestion, if we can get it done in that time frame.
So they're letting people get grandfathered in, but then they're not going to offer it going forward? Is basically the idea?
That's right.
Okay. So then if for some reason they stop doing it altogether, even if you were grandfathered in, we would have to have some actual cabling or having some kind of battery array or something like that to harvest the power, right?
No, it's gonna be a direct feed right into the,
But if they're not doing the net metering anymore,
No, so they're doing net metering.
so
They're still doing what's being phased out is the virtual
Yes.
or remote net metering, okay, which allows you to
Okay.
have panels in one facility that goes into the meter, and then you can utilize that across multiple locations.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
what we
okay.
really need as a
Right.
town. That's what we need.
right.
Just based on the way we're set up.
Right.
That's why we want to.
once this goes away, you're gonna put solar panels in at the town garage to feed the town garage.
Right.
Any excess will go into the grid as a credit. Same thing here, solar panels here, for this building, any extras will go into, anything extra will go into the grid, but it's only
Only going to, yeah.
only each individual building.
But my understanding is we're not putting them on the the town hall.
It'd just be
Right,
too
so
much.
I think the town garage would be the only building that could really accommodate it, which is why this program is perfect for it, and the sizing works out pretty nicely as well.
So, yeah, I don't know why I never thought of it. Just like because thinking about the rec fields, and there are sections that get good light and also are not really utilized as
Yeah.
much. Wondering even if a low level one would also help.
Yeah.
Now, once we have it, then the question of whether it could be moved, I mean, we could always address that down the road,
Yeah,
but.
but really getting
right
because
now
we
it's-
have the idea of this.
Yeah, once that deadline is passed, then I think it's gonna be more, it's gonna be, probably, we're not gonna get it.
So I think what you're asking is if it's okay to write up the RFP for this.
Yeah, I mean, just wanted to, yeah, I mean, basically, that's the question. And
So, I hate to do this. It goes back to the $55,000 estimate
Right.
to put these panels in.
Right.
Right now, yes, we have ARPA money that's sitting in there. We have a sidewalk that's gonna be so far over budget that we're gonna be dumping a bunch more money into. I'm afraid if we commit now, if this project's gonna happen, we have to commit now. But I'm afraid if we commit now to spending $55,000 next year, we're going to put it into the budget, spread out over a 5-year period, I would say, or however we can finance it. But my personal opinion is we don't want to touch any more ARPA funds until that project that we have to do is done.
So the idea, so I guess theoretically, is being comfortable with the idea of financing it over 5 years and making that major investment in it, and then if we have extra money from ARPA, we can then pay off the loan earlier, I guess.
Yeah, I'm afraid of tying up ARPA funds.
No, for sure.
Right.
That's my only fear.
That's something we committed to last year.
Right, right, so, I mean, and I'm not sure how much of those funds have actually, people have, that those funds are allocated for, have actually come in and drawn on their funds.
Right.
So I don't know what's left, what's not, how many people, so I'm afraid they're committing to that, it's just a financing part.
Yeah.
Yeah, solar's good,
No.
I wouldn't stretch it more than a 15-year loan, but you said roughly 55,000.
so that was the
What we're
estimate,
thinking.
that was the one estimate that was
Right.
received back in, I mean, obviously it'd be a new bid process, so. I don't know,
What's-
things like this, I mean, everything goes up, and yet
Right.
solar panels generally come down. So I don't know what it would be if we had three,
Right.
if we get 3 bids, I have no idea what.
What's the, what would be the?
But that's an example, as to give you a rough idea.
Does Green Mountain Power do their own, does Green Mountain Power do their own step-up transformers, their own phasing equipment, their own, or do we have to pay for that also? Do we have to pay Green Mountain Power for the work that they have to do to get that into the grid?
So I'd have to go back, the bid that we received was back in February. I'd have to go back and look at that and see if it was detailed in there or not.
Because that would be, it's an extra cost that's, if Green Mountain Power doesn't cover, the transformers, the 3-phase up to increase the voltage on the panels, because normally the panels are 48 volts, or whatever they are. So you've got Green Mountain Power work that has to be associated at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's just something that we need to follow up with also.
Yeah, so what we can do is, I mean, we can take that and research that before and have that for you for the next meeting. And then we can incorporate that, have that as part of the RFP process to make sure that that's captured in that.
And then my question is, we do have other money that Fernwood Farms,
We have the building fund.
and we have the building fund as well. So there's 2 other pots of money out there that we could at least look into and see
Right.
if we wanted to take any money out of those things.
I mean, if we get to CPG now, we don't have to build until the 1st of July anyways, or thereafter, as long as everything is planned everything is lined up by the 1st of July.
So we
They're ready
need,
to go.
we need an actual agreement saying we are paying, we are installing this to get the CPG.
We need the
Well, the
estimates.
installer would be the one who would submit the CPG on
Okay.
behalf.
Okay, so yeah, so we would need to be set with the installer. They would probably have to have somebody because they would want to have a commitment before.
Yeah, because they're doing work to put the CPG together. I don't think it's a.
Okay.
Right. Like if we were just doing the RFP and then we could submit everything but not necessarily commit, then that might be an
I
okay.
mean, I don't know that
solution.
we're, I mean, we could potentially, I mean, if we, I don't know why we wouldn't do this, but we could,
No, yeah.
we don't have to follow through if we could, well, we pay to get through the first part, get the CPG submitted, if something happens later and we say, the one nice thing to think about with this project is that it's one of very few projects that's gonna pay you back, right? So it's always difficult up front when you're finding the money to do it, I recognize that, certainly, but it will be paying us back for a long time.
I mean, I don't mind moving forward. I would like to keep it at the garage if there's capacity enough on that roof.
Yes.
As far as putting panels down the ball field, unfortunately, I'll have to fight that one because it's open land. I'd like to,
No, and
people like to walk down there and not wander around solar panels.
Right, and then the fencing and everything else like that. Yeah,
Right.
I was just trying to think if there's any other places that we have town land that gets good exposure that might benefit more so than the garage, which is a limited space that.
I think if it was an actual, like, I know it is a parking lot, but it's not like a parking lot to like a school or something.
But yeah. Well, if it was
It's part of,
right, but I do think if there was something that could make like a carport thing over the
Yeah.
entirety of the parking lot, that's a good swath.
I
of
looked
space.
into them. What they're doing right now is they're doing like a 3-car carport
Right.
with it positioned
Oh.
facing
it's gonna put
south.
out parking areas too.
Yeah, but I-
You gotta- a little
Well,
bit.
you got posts in between
Right.
each parking spot, so to support the ceiling, to support the roof. I mean, it's a great idea for a homeowner, but not sure if they do it on that scale, but it's,
Yeah.
it's a thought, and I don't know what the time frame is of the towns to.
Right.
I know Phil's been talking about it now for a year or two to get something built, but
Okay.
either way, we've got the roof.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just trying to see if there. What I would be really curious also is to know if we did get into this, could we then expand if we did find those different places that we could utilize that would not take away from our usable open recreation space, and then also could still provide more energy to the town.
Well, I think once we get a CPG, I think it's for one designated spot. However we build it there, but I'm afraid that if we
Once
decide
that's
to
it.
move elsewhere, I don't know if that CPG is,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be good for a second spot.
Right. That would be my biggest question, but if we don't think it's going to work.
All right. Well, it sounds like we have a lot to think about with this.
Well, do we want them to move forward with the RFP to?
Well, whatever they're going to write for the RFP will come to us first for approval. So I would say, bring it to that step at least.
Yeah.
RFP for the garage area and then
Uh-huh.
Because again, we can't really make a final decision until we get an actual real life, this is a number that we can commit to, that
right.
it's not going
Right.
to change.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Okay. So are we good with letting them write up the RFP? Okay,
Please do.
okay. And now let's move on to the other items here. The heat pump installation agreement,
Nope, we don't have that back yet, so.
we don't have it back yet, okay. So we have to then wait on this. Can't do this tonight. Estimates for electrical for heat pump installation. Bid forms have been sent to 8 commercial electrical contractors. We have Jeff Duchesne's estimate.
And you have the other one in front of you.
Yeah, we
have, the other one. Is that the Cargill one?
No, this is wrong one. Where do you go? All right. This is electrical
Okay.
contractors and systems integrity. It came
Oh,
on
okay.
separate paper.
Oh, it's, okay. Is it here
Yeah.
with these? Okay. Oh, mine are stuck to the table. Okay. not that.
That's it right there in your right hand.
Oh.
Is that under your pen?
Under the
Is
pen.
that Jeff's or is that?
Maybe this is it.
No, that's the concession.
That's the beach.
What is, this is
That's
the-
it right there.
This is it right here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Turn it over.
Gee whiz, okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay. Thank you. Okay.
So he has prices on the front side and then the back side is the details.
So they were planning on this one of using the three-phase, taking one side of that, one phase, putting in the panel off that phase.
The one we got
And
today.
that's.
Yeah, so I haven't seen the details on yet, but he did call me this morning and he mentioned that that's what he was thinking of doing. He had some questions just on the process.
Here you go. I thought I emailed you this.
Oh,
There you go.
Maybe let's just open it up here. Is this the Ryan guy? This is-
Yes, it is. MEI on the back is some of the details.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Well, I just wanted to make
Three-phase.
sure they were gonna pull this off the three-phase.
Oh, yeah,
Which
yeah.
it sounds like they're going to.
Yeah, so he said he was concerned both about space in the panel and also just getting close to capacity on that.
On the single
On the
phase.
existing,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there was another guy that was here, came for a site visit, Sandy, was that Rocky's electric?
Rocky, yeah,
I don't think he bidded, but he was also expressed similar concerns about
three-phase.
about the existing service being close to. So I don't know if we saw, did anybody submit an actual load calc with either of these?
But if we're gonna go to the three-phase, it doesn't really,
Right.
a load calculation is kind of a moot point anyways,
Yeah, if you use
if
it.
we're gonna go with a three-phase.
Yeah.
Or, pull a side off.
So I did meet with I didn't meet with them, but I contacted the fire district again, because previously, when I first saw them way back in July, we proposed it and they gave us permission in principle to use it, but then they said, come back and see us when you have more information. So when, actually it was the day that the Rockies Electric was here, he raised the concerns about it.
Yeah.
I went back and saw him and said, can we, because I'm just looking forward to tonight, when we get to this point, do we or do we not have permission so you can move forward with the decision? And they got back to me, they discussed it again and said that we do have permission. At the time, we said our objective was to utilize the existing service and only tap into the siren if we needed to. Without an actual load calc, it's hard to say we definitively need to,
Well-
but it certainly would be safer, I guess.
I was gonna say, if we're gonna do it,
Yeah.
but that's the estimate we got. Yeah, cause we had talked about, taking over that service anyways
Right.
from them.
Yes.
Because it's $35 a month or something.
Yeah.
And we would just take over that,
Yeah.
regardless of whether we used it or not.
Yeah, and then we also, as part of that process, we agreed to do a surge protection for them.
Right.
And I saw that I think Jeff's, he recommended like a whole building surge protection. I don't know if these other guys, didn't see what they submitted yet, but. So they don't really define as to how they're gonna do it, but I think in Jeff's, it was a whole building surge protection.
Okay.
He was going to do the condensers only, surge protection. Provide power and surge protection to support each unit separately. That's the way I read that. So the only question I had was,
So just before you go there, just to that point then, we could potentially, I guess, if we preferred, because I wasn't aware of the whole system surge protection at the time. But if you prefer that, I guess we could potentially get back to this guy.
Right.
well, problem is if you you could do a whole system surge protector, but it would only be on the siren. Would not be on the single phase feed. So that would be the only, by using the three-phase, by pulling a phase off, we can put a surge protector to cover the siren for both legs of the, or both phases,
Yep.
but it has nothing to do with the single phase to the building.
Right.
So the building itself
Yeah.
would still not have a surge protector on it. So wouldn't change there, but it would save the siren from
Right.
whatever, so.
Yeah.
The only question I had was by drawing on one side of that, one of those phases, not sure if the terminology is right, but would that cause a imbalance on the phases? More of a draw on one phase than the other, causing the siren to, it'll work right, but may not get the voltage on one side or what it needs to operate, equally on both sides, because they should be balanced. So that would be the only question is, with the heat pumps on one side, how much will that draw that down? Without not, so it's no longer a balanced load. Is it that much of a difference? I don't know.
Yeah. He didn't seem to think so. Robbie, it's been a long time since I've talked to Robbie about it, but at the time that Robbie first proposed it, he felt that based on the little amount of draw that the siren pulls, it would not.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Then that would
But we can we can certainly confirm that. Probably best to confirm it with whoever you decide to go with.
Right.
So with all this information, what do people think?
So we have one estimate, I don't know, what was the Duchesne estimate?
Is that the 2314?
Okay.
For Duchesne is 2314, and for MEI,
1750.
it's 1750.
But it looks like he has it for two.
Twice.
For two.
Oh,
One
So
for
it's
each.
3,500
so it's 3,500
Yeah, oh yeah,
for the three phase.
for the three-phase.
right,
But Duchesne's is only for,
for the single phase.
Okay. Okay, so this is three-phase.
That's what we want.
Right, that's what we want, is the
Three
three-phase.
days was a month ago.
I would think we'd be better off to do that
Yes.
without putting,
Okay.
because if we don't have.
like the electrician said, I think that's awful lot of draw to add to the existing panel.
And if it's a sub panel off of the one phase panel now, or it's a sub panel off the three phase,
Right.
you want to do the three
And
phase.
three phase has virtually no load on it,
Yeah, right.
Okay.
just the siren once a day or when needed.
So do we want, Duchesne to just get us with the three phase? And also get the question from both about the surge protection?
So ask about the surge protection, and then ask Duchesne to put in for three-phase?
I think so.
Wasn't our request though, the RFP for the three phase?
Was for both, I think.
It was both.
It was supposed to
It was
do a
both.
road count
Okay.
and
With an
determine
optional
which.
three,
Which is gonna be the,
with an optional three-phase,
yeah.
yeah.
The bid process asked them to do the load calc, because they thought originally we'd be able to do that, but Robbie's been so busy with his new job and everything. So we just put it into the bid sheet, and then they, we're gonna do, that was item one, was do the load calc to determine whether you can pull it off the existing service, or whether we need to tap the siren service. And then it turns out, looks like we got one back that said we're gonna use
We
this
can't go.
thing, and one that came back and said, they were gonna tap into the siren.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm thinking that we make the executive decision of which way we wanna go right now. We know the options.
Yeah.
And we go with the three-phase, we go with the leg on the three-phase.
Right. And then
So
get,
we ask Duchesne for a
yes,
quote on the
on the
three-phase,
three-phase.
and then and a surge protection, both of them.
And we asked
surge
about the
protection
surge protection.
For the both sides of the siren.
Yeah,
Is it?
It's a separate issue, it'll be a separate issue, but.
right.
So it sounds like you know more about it than I do, but would you prefer the full building surge protection, or do you?
We can't do a full building surge protection if we come onto the three-phase. Because the three-phase only feeds the siren, does not feed anything else in the building.
Well, I
So
mean, you
if
could
we-
ask for, if the objective is to have full building surge protection, I mean, is that something that, since we're going back to them anyway, do we go back and say,
It'll have to be a separate issue because it has nothing to do with the heat pumps.
It's not necessary for the heat pumps to be installed.
Right.
Right.
Because it's only gonna, so if we put the heat pumps on the three-phase, on one leg of the three-phase, and we put surge protector on both legs of the heat, or the three-phase,
right?
then that's all it feeds. We're gonna surge protect the siren. So we'd have to do give a separate estimate to surge protect the whole building.
Okay, so this estimate, what is it called?
MEI.
MEI,
Yeah,
they're proposing surge protection on each of the
on
two.
each unit.
Each unit, each
So
unit.
there's
Right.
nothing they need to
Right.
notify and request for because.
Well,
Except that we would need to add a surge protector for the siren.
right, we put a surge protector instead of putting it on both units,
Yeah.
put it on the feed
Yeah.
to protect the siren and those together.
Okay, all right, so that's
Yeah.
probably, since you already had it in here for both units themselves, if that's possible, then it's probably not gonna go up in price, I wouldn't think.
Might be a little less well, I don't know, it's three-phase, so,
Right.
but yeah, it won't change much.
Okay, and then Jeff, on his, he already had it anyway as a whole building.
But-
So for him, it's more a question of, hey, what would your price be if you tapped into the three-phase?
Right,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Gotcha.
Would that entail anything different?
right, but if he does, if we want the building to have a surge protector on it, then that's gonna have to be a separate project if we're gonna use a three-phase. Because the two circuits are totally separated in the building.
And I'm not saying you need
Yeah.
that, it just.
No, it's a great
It came to my
idea.
attention, and that's when I saw Jeff's thing.
It's one of those,
But it's not the same project.
right,
Okay.
I mean, we can get an estimate on that to do it at some point to put a surge protector on that other side. Now, on the main feed into the building, see what it costs, but.
Maybe then we just say like, this is not a absolute requirement, but we're
We're
looking
just
into this,
asking
asking for it.
Yeah.
But focus on getting the other stuff done so
Yeah.
that we don't get dragged down
Right.
more. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is it ever estimate, considering this would put them without electricity, or no, because you're doing the three-phase, would they to turn off electricity in the working areas?
Siren will go off.
That's it, that's the only thing change,
Okay.
okay. I'm just thinking we don't want the town down.
They do this building, if they do the other side, it will go down
Yeah.
while
Fair
they're,
enough.
and if we put surge protection on, it'll go down while.
Right.
Right,
If
Well, they're
not, an
working.
estimate on how long would each person take?
right.
So
Oh, they do it right,
Exactly.
they come in after hours.
Right,
Well, this actually specifies, normal working hours, so that's
Yeah.
why.
So just to summarize, so we're going back to MEI and asking them for adding surge protection for the siren, right? They already have
Yeah,
that.
for both phases.
And for Duchesne, we're going back and saying, tap into the siren service rather than the
Yeah.
main service and tell us if that.
And the surge protector for both sides.
yeah,
From
Correct,
Duchesne.
correct, same,
Yeah.
same situation for him.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
yeah, and the three-phase.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So for compressors and siren.
I think that'd be a lot cleaner and a lot easier. Just to. Because even Green Mountain Power didn't think that this was heavy enough to add a couple compressors onto the main feed to the building.
Oh, and I don't, Sandy, did you pass on that Green Mountain Power got back with the updated?
That's right.
That's next.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's our next thing. So, this is the GMP heat pump installation incentive agreement. And there is enclosed incentive agreement from GMP. There's a November 30th deadline on it.
So the November 30th deadline was based on the RFP for the heat pump installation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And the question is do you want to authorize me to sign?
I mean, if they're giving us $10,000, it feels silly to not do it. The only thing I would be concerned about is that project must be completed by 11:30,
Right.
Right.
just in case something goes wonky.
That's the deadline.
But it's not like there's a penalty if you don't make that deadline, right? I think it's-
Well, it says that work has to be completed by November 30th,
Right.
and they have to inspect it then to get the.
But right now, you're signing to receive, to be capable of receiving the $10,800, right?
Right.
You know,
But if we
If you
don't,
if you don't get it completed in time, they'll either still send you the money or they won't. Right? It's not like you owe them a penalty.
The way they phrase it is project must be completed by 11/30/2024. So if it's
Yeah,
complete, we're
so
fine.
here's what happened. So Dan Mackey called me and asked me when, he said, well, this will be in this year, correct?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. I said, in fact, the RFP states has a deadline of having it in by the end of November. He said, oh, great, that's fine. And then I found out that it's actually, he wrote the end of November as the project must be completed. My guess is that, I don't want to speak for Green Mountain Power, but he put that date in there because that's the date I told him that it was going to be done.
Right, right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the question before we sign that would be, can that date change?
Well, it says on page 4 of 8, in the second paragraph from the top, in any event, if the town of Wallingford project is not completed as described in this agreement, including any mutual extension of the deadlines as referenced herein. So
So-
it sounds like there's a little wiggle room if we
Yeah,
need
it sounds like we
So
could have a
people get in
mutual
here and-
extension.
Yeah, they're looking to do that. They're looking to
Right.
incentivize towns to move to heat pumps.
looks good.
Wait, no, but it's saying the opposite, Sandy, I think. Because it's saying that it has, a GMP shall have no obligation to provide any remaining portions of the incentive, and any portion already advanced shall be repaid by the town of Wallingford to GMP. Even if there are mutual agreements for extensions.
I wonder if we need to get that sorted out or not. What do other people think?
I mean, $10,000 makes a big difference to the whole project cost, so it's something that I would rather us have a little wiggle room than be right up to the gunnels.
Yes.
So the question would be, is the date 30th it's at?
How much-
In other words,
Right.
can we,
Exactly.
before we
I was
sign
thinking the
this,
same
change that
thing.
date?
Right. Can we work it up so that they're,
Right.
So change, you mean, just let's have that, ask them to change that date before we sign it.
Yes.
Okay.
I just think
Yes.
it's gonna be, I don't know if we can make that date.
Can we authorize Kathy to sign it maybe through the end of the year, or?
I would say something like that, just because no matter what we want to get it, even if they can't change it from the 11:30, we have to try, and then
Right.
we just hold on to that money and don't touch it until it's done, and so we can send it back if we need
That
to.
way, you know, if he changed it to the end of the year,
Right.
Kathy can just sign it without coming back here and waiting 2 weeks.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I can make a motion to,
Okay.
make a motion that Kathy could still sign this once we have an update on that done by date, if that can be changed or not, before the end of the year.
Second.
Okay, it's second. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Okay,
Call tomorrow, yep.
great. Now, let's see if there's anything else. I think that's town hall heating and cooling for this evening.
And Phil's here.
And Phil's here. Great. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you,
Good
Tom.
evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Phil.
Hello, how are you?
We are doing just fine. So we're gonna go to the road commissioner report.
Not a lot going on. They're hauling the sand. They did some sand repair, salt shed repair,
So,
for this year. I'm not sure it's gonna make too many more years, that poor old shed.
I know.
So I think we might wanna figure what we're gonna do there, even if we just widen that out. So I'm not sure that in the foreseeable future, the budget's gonna be there to do a steel building. So I think we're gonna have to plan on redoing that salt shed and figuring on putting a little money aside for blocks and a new roof on that.
For blocks and
Budget
new
this
roof.
year.
I was actually gonna ask tonight what the status of the salt shed was, so.
Excuse me?
I was gonna ask tonight what the status of, what was
Yeah.
happening with the salt shed.
Well, they dug it out and they came up, took a bunch of boards I had and some other stuff I had and braced it up so at least we'll hold salt this year instead of just pouring out sides and back.
Okay.
But after that, like I said, I think if the foreseeable future is not for a steel building, I think we need to double the size of that salt shed and at least, so we can get 3 or 4 loads in at a time instead of just mailing a couple. Don't know if that's an issue with the state or anything changing the size of that. I don't know. I have no clue. That's why I'm mentioning it now so we can look into it
Okay,
for next year.
so to look
and
into
set a little
doubling
money
the
aside for
side?
it.
So what's gonna be a good material to build it?
Well, concrete blocks.
Concrete block?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, building concrete blocks and then just, go up probably 9 feet or 12 feet because they're 2-foot blocks. And then put a, pitched roof out the back.
So,
So they can
concrete
get
blocks
out.
and a pitch roof.
Yeah.
It's gonna stay longer, huh?
Yeah, this wooden one's pretty well had.
We were just talking about possibly, when that gets rebuilt, if it can be tied in with
Right.
the sand shed somehow in the back or something, and the possibility of putting solar panels on it. As it gets rebuilt, put solar panels on it, incorporate it, design it so it'll hold the panels instead of the garage roof, so.
Yeah.
Or in conjunction with.
The only thing I would say to that is what's the corrosion issue gonna be with solar panels and
Right.
salt?
Well, I think you can keep.
I don't know how, I know nothing
I don't
about
know.
that. I would think the barrier of the roof would make it all right, but I know nothing about that kind of stuff.
Right,
As long as they're not, I think as long as they're not sitting in it,
Oh, no.
right.
But that was just a conversation that we had earlier about, we're talking solar panels, is
Yeah.
putting solar panels on the salt shed and, incorporating it into the sand shed and putting the panels over there in lieu of putting them on the garage.
Yeah, because right now, it's definitely it's not structurally sound, and I don't think the sand shed right now is structurally would hold solar
No.
panels.
Right.
No.
No, all the talk that we've
I'm
done about
almost
this.
as concerned about that falling in with snow load
Right.
Well, it won't
Salt
fall
shed.
far if the sand pile's there. That's the only thing's gonna hold it up. So, that's just something to think about, and maybe in back of our minds, set aside for a budget. Sandy said the only one that bid the salt, unless something's come in differently, was
Cargill?
Cargill was the
Yep,
only one?
it's 75 cents higher than last year.
I think that's,
American Rock and Appalachia did not submit bids.
I think that's a good as price as you're gonna get, well, it may be the only price you're gonna get, so.
Okay,
Pike also they're supposed to send it to Sandy,
Yep, they've got
a
it.
quote on sand,
Yep,
so it's not off the sheet price. I haven't even seen it, so.
I mailed it to you.
Did it come with, wouldn't it come? When did you mail
week.
it? Last, oh, yeah, I haven't seen it last week. I did
happened
see
to
the
me
letter
about-
letter on
When
the.
you see that, it says road commissioner on the bottom, it says open
Nine,
it
10 a
up.
ton?
That means open it up.
Yeah,
My
nine.
wife opens most of that stuff and I don't ever see any of it.
So 9, 10 a ton.
Yeah, compared to, I think 1050 is what sand is normally. Maybe it's not that much.
830 last year.
Yeah, but it went up. They've increased twice this year down there. I think it's 4% one time and 3% the other. Let's see, what else was there? Oh, this, I don't know who, I only got part of it today on the sidewalk deal down by Cumberland Farms.
What?
I don't know anything about this.
Somebody sent me a letter and said road commissioner.
Oh, the safety thing.
Yeah, they wanted more speed control.
Oh,
More
I saw
radar.
that the other day.
yeah.
Somebody said something.
Oh, that one, yeah.
I think that's state, isn't it?
Yeah.
Controls that sidewalk
Yeah.
on 7 and they're right of way?
No,
Yeah, we can't do crosswalks, we can't do
No.
Right.
anything, so.
yeah, like, farms can't do
And
anything.
we've asked them a couple of times to look at it and see if
Yeah.
they, because we've talked about doing one in front of like the church going across
Yeah.
down there, or doing one down on South Main,
Yeah.
down by Church Street, basically.
Right.
Problem is now they gotta do curb cuts and
Yeah,
everything else to
yeah.
make it compliant.
You want by consensus to go with Pike and Cargill?
Yes.
Okay. And then what's up with your mower?
Hey,
It's still a lawn ornament down in the meadow. I guess I'm gonna have to change and get a different machine to mow with. I keep hearing good news about it, but it never moves, so.
you thought we could rent one.
Yeah, there's no
Apparently
such
they're
thing.
died this year.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
I've already looked into that to help
Wow.
out too, but, I will have to switch machines and do some of the, like Otter, Creek Road, 140, some of them, just get some of it done.
East Street.
East Street, yeah, for,
East Street, yes.
But it seems crazy, even when they get it back from maintenance, it seems crazy to spend another $4,000 on renting one.
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy. Everybody's, I talked to find one is broke down too.
Yep.
Wow.
And some of these guys, you look, they're for sale everywheres, but they're all in the same boat. They're all wore out, they're tired.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw one the other day. They put it on the front of the wheeled loader.
Yep, it's a 5-foot flail mower with a 22% offset. I don't think it's gonna mow very much.
No, well, it's hard to reach out.
You need a 90% offset to swing.
Oh, yeah.
22% in front, it's hardly gonna get you to the edge of the road. Yeah, I saw that it was in
I don't know where it was, I was just,
Marketplace had it.
I mean, that's what it was. I'm like,
$6,000 too.
yeah,
It's reasonable money, but.
Did you
get
go
you off the
to-
road that far.
Yeah.
Did you
I
go
can do
to
that.
Centerville?
Excuse me?
Did you go up to Centerville?
No, he wasn't
Too?
around. I did go up, but I haven't found that guy. Rick. I need to check in with him when he's there. He's not, wasn't there.
Wait till Phil gets his running.
Okay.
Okay.
You said you have
We don't have any
a-
options.
All right,
You have McCormick's farm over?
here we are.
Yeah, I do average number.
Call and see if it's getting worse.
I'll call him, see what's going on. I got his number. I
How's
I work with him.
your
He's not that kind of guy. That's what I don't understand.
No, just see if
Think
there's
you know
anything.
the-
How does it like ice?
We might know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Oh, the other option is you take the grader and push
Oh, Jesus.
the edge of the road, just push them right back out of the neighbors. And you don't have to mow.
Oh, boy.
Actually,
We took no
Kinda
more
like
May
a statement up
seriously
here.
here.
what's
We
that?
took no more May seriously.
So, Phil. Anything else? Is that it for this
No, I don't have
evening?
anything at the moment.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We are now on to Elfin Lake. the update on the building plans. And Papa's here. Yeah, Denise. And Denise. Thank you, Denise, okay.
So Shannon could not be here. We asked her for some information about the grant that we would like to apply for. So would it make more sense for me to read through that and then you to go through the plan, the map that you drew out? Okay, so I'm just gonna read verbatim what she has written down here. We are seeking your support in a grant from the Land and Water Conservation Fund for the beach facility. And that, when I say facility, I'm talking building.
Yeah.
We had discussed a $50,000 budget based on $100 a square foot for renovations. You know, that's just a number that we came up with. We have nothing written in stone about it yet. But that's, you think it was what?
50.
50 a square foot?
With a 1,000 square foot building, and we were looking for.
Okay, well, she's got $100 a square foot here, but so we're still preliminary there. Let's see, the grant does have a 50% match, but we're hoping that the $25,000 that we hope to get in the erosion implementation grant can be used as an offset for that grant. So that's what we're looking for there. The submission deadline for this is 12/13 for a pre-application and a final submission in March. If we are chosen, if our proposal is selected for the full round. I think that is it as far as the information that she provided to us. Ralph has done a drawing. We did go over to the building, measured everything, looked at what we thought. We talked about bringing the building up to ADA compliance. We thought that was pretty important.
Yeah.
And would probably prioritize any construction with that goal in mind. Clearly, there's a lot we would love to do, but it may not be possible. But Ralph has come up with a drawing and things that we had talked about. Jordan had been there, Carolyn had been there, Justin, forgive me.
That's fine.
And Carolyn was there as well, so.
Okay.
And I think you all have a copy of that.
Yes. Yes, we have a picture of the drawing.
Just a sketch. I don't draw on the computer anymore. I don't even have a drafting table. So, just to get our ideas together.
Okay.
So the only question that I had, of looking at this, the changing stalls
Yes.
are all in one room. So when you walk through, you walk into the bathroom to access both bathrooms, and the changing stalls are on the right-hand side. And I presume those are boy and girl.
The unisex changing rooms.
They're
Right.
unisex?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea was that right now that the walls are way too short.
Right.
So
Right.
part of this would be to extend it up higher than it would never have to be, and then having a full door that can close or
So it'd be
lock.
almost individual-esque rooms.
Yeah.
not-
Like individual changing rooms, and they can
Right.
be unisex because anyone can go into them.
Right.
I just had,
Because that's,
I
right,
don't know, I'm not sure if I like that idea.
but
Because
right
you
now
got
there is
everybody
no,
walking through a changing
Right now,
room.
there's no men's changing.
Actually, they
Right.
can go in, if the garage door is open, they can approach from that side, so that room could become kind of private there.
Right,
And you always have the bathrooms too, that.
right.
so-
Well, the other thing I was looking at this is if you added 4 more changing rooms, not sure if that's necessary, off the garage door, put a walk-through, a man door in the garage door, so you can, so during the day, the garage door is closed, you can walk through the man door, that gives you access straight in, men's side, straight in, and the women's side, keeps things separate without intermixing. That's the first thing that popped into my head when I was looking
So-
at it.
May have changed, 'cause I wasn't at the last meeting, but one thing was discussed was this would be more like the camp area
Oh,
and the garage Right.
more of a
Did we-
storage, especially for in the
Well,
winter to be able to get
Well, the
everything.
winter in
Yeah.
storage, you still have the overhead door.
Right, no,
So
but,
you can still put everything, your storage stuff in there for the winter and nights.
and then those bathrooms would be more camper bathrooms in that area too.
Okay. And I'm
No, that was
thinking,
just,
Yeah.
with having unisex changing rooms, actually a lot of facilities do this kind of thing. At the beach that we go down to in Cape Cod, it has a town beach, which is basically a row of porta potties that people wait to use, or there's the National Seashore. And the National Seashore, you walk up and it's basically an area where there are unisex changing rooms. People wait their turn to be able to go into a changing room, and anyone can go into available and have complete privacy.
Right.
So I've seen these unisex ones work very well in other beach locations. I don't think it would be a real detriment to anyone's.
And right now, there is no sense of privacy in the women's changing room right now, especially
None.
because the door is always open.
Yes.
The stalls themselves are up to here on
Yes.
me. So
Yes.
it's not, there's this, no matter what, this would be you would feel more comfortable, I would hope, in the space like this, especially if the door's
Yeah.
locked and they went all the way down the floor and up to the ceiling.
And for males, the only one would be if you went to the bathroom, which you would have to go through the employee area.
Gotcha.
Right.
Because there was no men's
There's no
changing
other.
room now.
Yes. Okay.
And I think a lot of little boys were going into the girls' one,
Yes.
so.
We were trying to open it up so there were two ways out of the building.
Okay.
And then you have the garage door too, so
Right.
you can circulate
Okay.
through. And then we kept one room which was a secure area for staff equipment and things that you don't want people messing with.
Exactly.
So, one of the most important things is when they shrink the beach area, they want to put it down more by the big cottonwood tree where the ground is level so when it rains, whatever, it doesn't wash the sand into the lake. So we want to move the attendance window down to the southwest corner so they can see if anybody's coming through the woods, they can see who's coming through the gate, they can see who's suntanning, they can see who's in the water. So we get kind of a corner visibility there.
So you
control
eliminate that blind spot.
And you can see
Yeah.
where there used to be a window.
That's where it
there.
used to be. It used to be on that
Oh.
corner, and both of those windows were open, so you had the full view of the lake, and you had the full view around to the gate where people would
And that's
try and
where,
sneak in.
there's a
Yes.
cabinet and
Gotcha.
stuff right there, so that's where that has to get
Yeah.
moved to the other locations.
Right. We also felt it was important to have an accessible bathroom.
Yes.
We thought that was a big part of the plan as well.
There's that in the building. I mean, we need
Yeah.
hardware on the doors.
Right.
We need, in the bathroom, we need grab bars, we need a special toilet, and special lab, mounting heights, all that stuff applies.
Right.
ADA is a pretty big impact. Also, we need to look at the plumbing code. I don't know if this is vented properly and everything. It's been a long time since anything was done. I don't think the toilets are low flush.
No.
So we really ought to change the fixtures, probably update those. And electrically is another code issue there. We need probably energy efficient lighting. Just a general inspection of how the electric's installed and laid out. I'm not an engineer for that. One thing I wanted to mention is to add to this list is the power comes from the boys camp now, comes across the marsh area to a pole. And then there are 3 lines that go over to the building right above the new beach area to a mast, and they all, make a mess there on top of the building on the roof. since we have these machines coming in to do the landscape and stuff, we could easily dig a trench from that pole to the building and put those lines
Put the
underneath
lines
them.
under.
I think that would be an improvement aesthetically, and maybe, I don't know about code and how this mast,
Well, I think safety-wise too.
yeah, it might be,
Yeah.
so. Anyway, we thought we'd prioritize these items.
Okay.
We go for this grant, and if we bid it out, we can bid alternates, and so do as much as we can afford now. If we'd have to postpone some part of this somewhere along the line, but just keep the grant low and our contribution low, unless it is reimbursed with this other
Right,
Yeah,
emotion.
50% match,
Yeah.
that would be
Okay.
ideal.
So
okay,
I'm a little suspicious of that, but I don't know. We'll see.
okay. I had one question, I can't quite tell here. There is a room right now, ish, that can be used, so if there's a storm outside, that you can bring the campers inside. Does this include a space for that?
Yeah.
That's that garage area.
That's the garage area, okay.
That would, at least that's what we were kind of, that would be
Vision.
part of, that would be more like their area, so then
Right.
it's not going through
Right,
anywhere and it's.
yes.
They can have more control of
Okay.
that.
I was just wondering
Yep.
about that.
We
And
thought we'd
it
like
would
to
be a
have
bigger area.
a
Okay.
kayak rack on one of the walls in there, so we could stack up
Yeah,
water boards and kayaks, maybe 3 or 4 high.
okay,
So that could, the other part of the changing room there is some space too, so I don't know how we allocate that, but
okay. That was the one question I had on the plan.
On the back side of this, where it says all new windows and shutters, are those boarded up windows there now?
yeah,
Okay.
I think you want to open those windows up with some kind of removable shutter for off-season protection. Unless you want to fold up on the inside but you're still going to break the glass. I mean, we don't want to leave the windows without
Right.
some glass or something in there, the birds will be in and.
Well, I just think that, considering the 5 or 6 break-ins this year, we want to be careful how we,
Yeah,
I mean, what happens with glass windows.
yeah.
So, I just,
Yeah, because when we were over there,
be careful with entry.
one of the break-ins, we had looked at that side and said, you know, that's the kind of blind side. You can't see over that side of the thing.
Right.
So it may not be in the best interest to put windows on that side because you can't see over there.
That's-
Even if people are walking, it's still hard to see on that side of the building.
I know those bathrooms, there's no exhaust piping out
Right.
of those things. So I don't know if they were counting on the open windows to some fresh air in there.
But you have to put those in the code anyways.
We may have to add those.
To bring them up in the code.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But perhaps there's some kind of a more secure,
Right.
you know, that's something we should look at all around for the
Yes.
entire building.
Yes.
You know, the fold-up
Just how to
windows and
secure it.
everything is,
Yes.
we
Yes.
should try and secure it.
yeah, that should be
more than
part of it
is.
too.
Yeah.
Or something more like a transom, something that's going to maybe be longer, but then would let light in and let air out, but would be too skinny for somebody to actually squeeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But break it anyway though.
They break it anyway, and the frustration, but.
Okay. Any
But yeah,
other
also the storage room, we're thinking of also trying to make sure that that would be a space that could be secure, so you could actually have maybe a small floor safe. Not a floor safe, but just a small safe in there to put the money bags in overnight if they couldn't get
Or
back or
anything.
something like that, yeah.
So if you have any other thoughts, we welcome
Yeah.
your input.
Okay, well, thank you for the update.
Just think.
Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Now, electric on or off at the concession stand, Ms. Fenter?
What's the bill run over there, Bob?
It's minimal.
It's minimal?
What's the cost for cutting it off? It's just one of us going and turning off the breaker? Or,
Are we
We
needing?
actually have GMP shut it off right
Okay.
now. And then coming back, and I think, I mean, they charge a fee in the fall and spring. I think it's like $30, $25 or $30 to shut it off and then not
Okay.
back on.
we would lose security if we turned it off.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
I know.
But the other thing is
Who's gonna wander
who's
out
gonna
there?
be down there to even know something occurred first? And somebody's gonna we'd have to unboard it to get in there.
Well, this door, all you have to do is unlock the door, right?
No.
Doors-
No,
No, they get all boarded up, and that needs to happen soon.
Yeah.
it's,
It's cumbersome to unboard.
They don't bother that during the winter anyway. We've never had a problem in there
That
during
we
the
know
winter,
of.
right?
No.
I just say,
Then-
we shut it off. That's my opinion, but
Yeah.
board it up.
I would agree with
Shut it
that.
off.
shut, yep,
Okay.
shut it off, be done with it.
Okay.
And then flush forward.
Okay, Wallingford Day Committee resignation. Jane Duda has resigned from the Wallingford Day Committee. Do we accept her resignation? Yep. And
What would you
Sandy
do?
will send a,
I will.
Say no.
okay. I know. No, you can.
That'll be part of
We should
minutes,
be
that's
nice
all.
and send a
Thank you,
letter.
Denise.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Boy with the Boot update.
With Gilbert Hart.
Oh,
Mail.
Gilbert Hart. That's after.
What's happening?
Maybe I'm reading wrong.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at that. Like,
Oh, no, well,
it's reverse on the
yeah.
memo,
Or is it?
sorry.
It has a Boy with the Boot update first on the,
Oh, I'm not- I'm
Wallingford
not-
Day Resignation, boy with a boot.
yes,
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
okay,
It's just the opposite in the memo, that's all.
okay. So Glenn Campbell, stopped by from West Rutland to see the statue. He's a year out on projects. But he can't take this on.
No.
But he might know someone who can.
I sent him another email,
Haven't heard anything back.
he's working on it.
Okay.
he said.
Did you hear
There's
from the
an
Mint at all?
enclosed email from Daniel Buckley. And there's been, a reach out to Philibot.
And they're coming tomorrow?
Oh, they're coming tomorrow to look. And Lee Underwood has also sent an enclosed estimate for us to look at.
Who's
And-
Philbot?
So if you see the, in the email, one of the citizens sent me an email saying that he's well aware of their work and recommended we reach out to them, so I did.
Uh-huh.
And Daniel Buckley sent us an email saying he's very familiar with Phil Bott's work and he would be a good person to, good company to get in touch with, so I did, and he's actually coming tomorrow to look at it.
Oh, great.
So if he's coming, we should then wait for
I think
Yeah.
the
so.
proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Okay,
I think, it would be worth waiting a year for Glenn Campbell.
But he says he can't.
Huh?
he can't do it.
He can't do it?
No.
Because he didn't have time.
Right.
He,
He's at least a year out, and he's trying to retire, he said to me.
oh, he's trying to retire.
Oh, me too.
Okay,
Too bad.
so we'll wait for
Right.
what happens with Philibot. And now the other question is, there are no suspects as of right now, but the sheriff are investigating, so what do we think about a reward?
I don't think we should. Because if somebody hasn't come out yet, why reward them? Because, you know, unless there's actual proof, because we've already had false accusations that tied up our place in as that tied up the police investigation. Why
Why
increase
muddy the
that?
waters?
My concern about a reward is that you would have a lot of people putting in things that could be false
That's what I'm
in order to
try to collect.
try to collect the money.
Well,
And also, if they
leading
held it
into a
secret, they don't
conviction.
reward it. If they've
how
already
much,
held it a
how much,
secret.
how much are we willing to pay to convict somebody?
But we don't know what kind of viable leads we're gonna be getting from
No,
this.
we
But and also
do,
the
because there's
outcome
no
of it.
money until there's a conviction,
Right.
Right.
Well,
right? You don't have to spend any money, you don't have to.
But
Yeah, but it's,
still, either if they haven't already said something, they're part of it. They're just as guilty in my eyes right now. If you know about it, you don't deserve any money.
I'd almost just,
Well,
yeah.
if we get a conviction, somebody, that's what you put a reward out for.
And my other concern is how much extra work can we as a town handle? I don't know if the sheriff's department would be behind us posting a reward, if
No,
they,
we-
if they could help us
we do it
with
right
this,
now,
what do you think?
yeah, I mean, I know early on they said no.
Yes.
And I-
Because they had a suspect.
Right, that's
Do a
right.
press release.
So do we need to check with the sheriff's
No,
department?
they said that, I
They
spoke
said
with the
no.
deputy and they just said it was up to you. At this point, it's up to you.
Okay, and so that
We
means
need
we
to
fall on
do
the town
something to
to report leads,
prod people.
right?
Well, we would
I
put out the
mean,
reward,
Just
we
the,
can
just the thing,
say
just
report leads to the sheriff.
that it's
and then-
not over,
Okay.
you know?
I-
There's no suspect, but it's not
I know
over.
where Carolyn's coming from. You hate to reward somebody for doing something wrong,
No.
but,
What do you?
well, in other words,
Yeah.
as Carolyn was saying, if you put out a reward, the person that turns the other person in more than likely had something to do with it, or they
Yes.
would have come forward before now.
Right.
So even if it leads to a conviction, you're paying someone that had something to do with it.
Or has helped hide it.
Right. So you're
I-
rewarding
yeah.
I would
bad
rather-
behavior.
I would rather save the money and help, you know, because like the Wallingford House has said that they would be willing to help with a camera. I would rather put that money
Yeah.
towards prevention in the future and getting the replicas made.
When we lost the boot,
That's a
somebody
good idea.
stole the boot. We said, that we're gonna put a reward out for return of the boot. And somebody saw it in the stream in Rutland, and it's because they saw it, so we got that back, but there's nothing to get back. You know,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
this is more of a vengeance thing, you know, it's like, I'm not so.
I think that,
I think if it was stolen, that would be a
With
different
Carolyn,
thing.
I have gone back and forth my thinking of it, but it's, because then I was also looking like, even if we do, what would happen with that person, even if they get found guilty? I mean, what would the penalty be?
Slap on the hand.
So once again, you're giving money.
Well, it's
For what?
actually, with the estimates that we're
I know it's
seeing,
over a felony, I know, but
definitely a
still,
felony, but.
But even with that, what would the penalty be?
and it just doesn't, I think the idea of going for a reward, going for vengeance, quote unquote, like that's not the idea that people have expressed in terms of the hope that they see with the boy in the boot.
keep it
company that's-
positive.
Yeah, keeping it positive, keeping it going towards rebuilding it, saying that this
I
doesn't
think-
affect us as much as you think it does.
I think
It's
putting
still-
the money towards the rebuilding of the boy and towards having some sort of cameras that could record things that are happening in that
I
area
think
would
we-
be a better use of the money than putting out the reward.
I think it would be, I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you, but I think it might be in our best interest to ask the AOT if they would put camera there, they won't do it?
I don't know.
Huh?
We can ask, but,
Yeah. I mean,
Probably wouldn't.
but we also can they showed interest in allowing us to put them on the Wallingford House. And I'm sure if we
Yes.
ask the block, if we can
Yes.
put
Well,
a couple
sure that
cameras at the
block- yes.
intersection.
Yep.
There's cameras in traffic lights in Rutland.
Yeah.
cameras all the time, all over the place. So,
But they wouldn't be angled in any way, shape, or form to,
Huh?
they wouldn't be angled to actually
Oh, yeah.
capture something that's on
put the
there.
whole, put a 360.
Yeah, I think most of the cameras in Rutland are city-owned.
Right.
These would, these,
Yeah, this
and
would
we
be
can't,
town.
we can't own them,
Oh, because they
because it's
own
state
the-
road,
Oh, yes.
Oh,
state sign, state
Yeah, that's
road.
the issue.
No,
Rutland
no, it's
City.
their thing, but we would have to ask
Yeah.
permission.
But we can, like I said, we got a couple buildings
We have a
We
couple
got all
buildings.
that.
Well, it'd
we
be
can-
nice to exhaust
And
this
there's
one
also the
first.
library.
And Yonkers, that building.
What
Can it,
could
we'd have
hurt?
to ask her and see.
No,
what
yeah, but I'm
else.
sure all these people would be, and that's where we
Yes,
put our resources into that.
I agree with that.
And just start moving forward and getting things rebuilt and honoring it that way.
I would
And not
also.
giving
yeah.
power in this.
I would also say the idea of putting even one, but like 4 cameras on one corner in our
A
town
little guilty.
it feels very much panopticon kind
Yeah.
of like nanny state, like, and it also doesn't, it just doesn't go to the trust that we have in our town and the trust that our way of life is
It's not like
supposed
it's
to
the
be.
only place we have an issue.
No, but I'm just saying, I feel uncomfortable because we've been talking about getting security cameras for so many different places, and it just feels, I don't know, I don't like
Big
it. I
brother?
don't like it. Yeah, I don't like the idea that we're adding this and more
But I
and more and
think the
more.
things
We
that
just-
are being
we need to at least get one.
vandalized
In this corner.
multiple times, it makes realistic sense to have some sort of accountability there, some way to see what's going on. Maybe you don't do all 4 corners there, but Wallingford House has offered to have cameras there. That makes sense to have it there. And to also
it
have
doesn't
a
work, we
view
have other
from the
options.
block across the street. It just gives you a different vantage point.
No, I understand the logic behind it. I don't know if I feel comfortable with us having that much surveillance on our town when we have this incident and maybe an incident every few years or
Well,
so.
we've been, I mean, what's the word I want to say? We've had issues this year with break-ins and breakage of town property. So unless it stops, then we need to do something to deter it. So by putting cameras at the lake, by putting cameras down at the ball fields, we're deterring it. And if it takes a camera up here to deter it from future, I'd say we put a camera up here. Unless somebody comes forward and says, I know who did it, then we solve the problem that way. But I'm just, is it different kids or people? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
The camera is there, is not gonna just protect the boy in the boot. Anything that goes on there wrong. And I really
but I think that's
question why we need one here. In this door.
why we have one here.
Why are we putting a camera here?
Because it's protection for the girls that in here
Yes.
during the day. They can
For
see
what?
who's, we've
Yes.
had threats in the past. People have threatened to come
So
in.
this is so they can see who's coming in?
Yeah,
Yep,
It's gonna be right over the door?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
It's just, in the past years, we've had threats to people at town hall.
I mean, there are certain town halls that won't even allow walk-ins at all because of issues.
Yeah.
yes,
You make an appointment
Right
if you
in
want,
line.
yeah.
yep.
Doors are fully locked.
So, but that's why, because, they've been concerned, I think, even last year, we had was it early
And
this
it's-
summer? Sometime in the
Once
near,
it's there, you'll find reasons to go back and see who was there.
But schools have the same security. Now there's, when you buzz to enter, you can see who's there at the door.
Okay. You know what? Makes sense.
And you can't get in the building
Hospitals.
unless you're buzzed in.
Hospital, the doors are open, but you have to go through a security.
And I don't care how many cameras anybody has anywhere, it doesn't seem like 1984 to me, because if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have any privacy.
But that's a whole argument that as soon as the people, that's a whole argument that as soon as the people that are in charge make a rule that you are going to violate, even though it was a totally legal thing to do, then it's that mindset of, oh, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you're not going to be assigned for it.
I think it's a deterrent, you know.
Justin, I totally hear what you're saying. I acknowledge the, the hesitation.
Right.
But I think if Wallingford House is offering and we can get a view of what's happening, if anything was to happen, get a view of if anything is disturbed with the boy in the future, I think that's just.
No, I understand the logic.
What's that?
We've had the gardens vandalized, the flowers there too before, so.
That's true.
Yeah, the best view of that would be at the block, looking across.
So,
And we could ask.
figuring out
We could decide
Really with
which
the best-
vantage
with the
point
best
is the
option.
best, with the
Right.
best option, and
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
And I'm sure Michelle wouldn't have an issue.
Right.
And
Right,
again, there's internet in there, so that camera can be remote
exactly.
back.
Right.
So,
Okay. So, are we good with our discussion on the boy? Okay.
Well, so what are we gonna do?
I think we're not. I think consensus is
We're
not
gonna
to
not
do,
gonna do it.
is not to do a reward, but to save money for the restoration of the boy and for any future security we want to install.
So we're not gonna push the camera idea at all?
Yes, we're gonna
Yeah.
pursue the camera idea.
Huh?
We are going to pursue the camera idea.
Okay,
I'm gonna save the money for that and for restoration.
good,
Okay?
yeah.
Okay, moving on. Gilbert Hart Library bulk mail request. The library has requested to use town's bulk mail permit to send out their annual fundraising letter.
So-
Do we approve?
So move.
Yep,
Yes.
that's a yes. Okay. Does anyone have any comments or concerns? I don't hear any. Let's see for other business. We have something from the RRPC. Okay. Come Alive Outside has sent the town a check to cover the cost of the boat rentals.
Right.
Cecile Bennett was awarded ARPA funds for a telecommunication risk and needs assessment.
She's gonna get it done as soon as possible.
Oh, great.
She's not gonna make that deadline. The only reason why we set up those deadlines was early on.
Right.
We had to prove how much, we
And-
spent the money by a certain date, but that's not required anymore.
Okay. And let's see, there will be a town hall concert on Wednesday, October 9th, and I have donated money towards that concert. Was it well attended?
It's this Wednesday.
It's this Wednesday, so it's
Yeah.
coming up still.
Gypsy Reel.
Yep, Gypsy Reel, so
Come on now.
come on down and see a wonderful concert on Wednesday, October 9th at 7 p.m. FEMA has finally obligated all of town of Wallingford projects.
Yes.
And I think that's all that we have for this evening.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
So moved?
Aye.
All right.
Bye.